I'm good, thank you. Okay, let me just get to this book so I can type things for you. Okay, we're going to do some speaking today, okay? Let me just get this out of the way. Okay. What did you eat today, Nee?
I ate rice with soup and also sticky rice.
Oh, nice. Do you like sticky rice?
Yes, of course.
Nice. And what's the weather like?
The weather is hot.
Good. Is it winter, summer?
Um, Now in Vietnam is winter, but uh after a week rainy every day, so now it's hot and sunny.
Okay. Hi, Icy.
Hello, teacher.
Just right here for you. Okay, so the question is part. Okay, the topic is someone who is good at cooking. Think about somebody that's good at cooking. It can be somebody at school, somebody in your family. Okay, what do people need to prepare when they need to cook? How often do people in your country cook at home nowadays, or do they get takeout? Who do you think is more willing to do some cooking? Old people or young people? Um, do you think everyone needs to learn how to cook? Okay, so that's the first part, cooking. We're not doing new foods yet. Okay. Let me type here, cooking. I'm here so that we can see it better. Here and here. I can make this longer too. Okay, there we go. So, what do people need to prepare when they need to cook? Nee, you can go first.
Um, for me, I think people need to prepare some items to cook like pot, pan, uh, rice, electric cooker, and some food for that meal. And also, before they cook, they need to wash their hands uh, to be clean.
Yes, okay. So you have to make sure that everything you want to use is clean. So your kitchen must be clean, your hands must be clean, the pots and pans that you want to use must be clean. So preparing, you need to prepare your food. You must make sure that your hands, clothes, equipment in the kitchen are clean. You'll always also need to be kept clean throughout your food preparation. Um, Then you have to prepare. So what do people need to prepare when they need to cook? Okay, then you have to prepare your food. You have to cut it up. You have to be safe. Okay. I see. What do you think people need to do to prepare when they need to cook?
Um, I think people need to prepare a recipe for for them to make food um and some spice or spice. Mm.
Okay,
And
so
also ingredient.
yeah, to prepare the ingredients. What do people need to do when they need to cook? So, um, let's see something here. Okay. The most important step to remember before preparing food is to wash and dry your hands thoroughly. Okay, so what do they need to prepare when they need to cook? The most important step to remember before preparing food is to wash and dry your hands thoroughly. Okay, that means properly. So then you can say, also, you must make sure that clothes, equipment, and the kitchen surfaces are clean. Um, okay, so what do people need to prepare when they need to cook? The most important step to remember before preparing food is to wash and dry your hands. Hands. Um, hands thoroughly. Also, you must make sure the clothes, equipment, we can say utensils, and the kitchen surfaces are clean. Then you need to prepare the food by cutting it into pieces if you can say necessary. So if you need to cut like the meat, uh, okay, so you can say if necessarily, if necessarily, okay. I see. What else? What else do you think?
Uh, a good machine.
A good?
A good machine that things to cook that good high quality.
A good machine to cook? You're talking about like an oven?
Yeah, a pan.
A pan? Okay, so that will be under the utensils and equipment. We can say here also you must make sure that clothes, equipment, utensils, and the kitchen surfaces are clean. It's always handy to keep a rubbish bin nearby so that you can throw things away. Then you need to prepare the food by cutting it into pieces if necessary. Always keep the surface the surface and utensils clean while cooking. So throughout your cooking, you have to keep it clean. You should always remember to separate your food. To separate the meat from the vegetables when you cut or prepare your food. So you won't cut your meat and your vegetables and your potatoes and everything in one bowl. You will cut your meat separate from your vegetables. So you should always remember to separate the meat from the vegetables when you cut or prepare your food. Furthermore, keep your workspace safe. For instance, your knives should not so for example, when like the equipment, you can't have your knives lying on the table everywhere or falling on the floor and on your toe. So your knives should be at a safe spot when you are working with knives and cutting. Okay. So, see, you can read here before we go on to the next one.
The most important step to remember before preparing food is to wash and dry your hands thoroughly. Also, you must make sure that clothes, equipment, utensils, and the kitchen surfaces are clean. It's always handy to keep a rubbish bin nearby. Then you need to prepare food by cutting it into pieces if necessary. Always keep the surface and utensils clean while cooking. You should always remember to separate the meat from the vegetables when you cut or prepare your food. Furthermore, keep your workspace safe. For instance, your knives should be at a safe spot.
Okay, Icy, see if you can read it.
The most important step to remember before preparing food is to wash and dry your hands thoroughly. Also, you must make sure that clothes, equipment, utensils, and the
Utensils.
utensil and the kitchen surface are clean. It's always handy to keep a rubbish bin nearby. Then you need to prepare the food by cutting it into pieces if necessary. Uh, Always keep the surface and utensils clean while cooking. You should always remember to separate the meat from the vegetable when you cut or prepare your food. Furthermore, keep your space safe. For instance, your knife should be at a safe spot.
Okay, so nowadays, Neen, the second question, nowadays, how often do people in your country cook at home? How often do people cook in your country at home? Or do you have takeout a lot of times?
I think in this day and age, people in my country often cook at home in the evenings because every day, in the mornings, uh, most of family buy food outside, like by me, or they can eat breakfast with sticky rice. And at lunch, their children will eat in their school, and also parents eat at companies, and they rarely go home to cook. But in the evenings, they often cook at home to have meals together after a hard day working and studying.
Okay, I see. What about your family? Do you cook often in your house, or do you have takeouts?
Um, uh, I think people in my country, um, they cook similar uh to together that with meat, rice, and soup.
Yeah, but look at the question. How often do people in your country cook at home? Not what they cook. It's do they cook at home, or do they rather have takeout?
They also cook at home and take out.
They cook at home nowadays more.
Yeah.
So who cooks at your house?
Um, my mom.
So your mom cooks every day at your house?
Yeah.
Okay. When do you have takeout?
Um,
Do you have
that
takeout in your family?
like hang out.
Takeout. When do you have takeouts? Do you know what takeout is?
Is it hang out to other
Mm-mm.
place?
No. Takeout. Takeout is food from like fast food shops. Fast food, fast foods. Takeout. It's takeaways. Takeaways. Do you know takeaways or takeout?
Yeah.
Food from, yeah, fast food restaurants or places. So how many times a week or a month do you have takeout or takeaways? That means your mother doesn't cook. That means you get food like pizza or burgers from a takeout place.
So I rarely take out that my mom thinks that the fast food shop is not clean, and
Okay.
we prefer to eat at home to save
Okay.
the
Yes. Okay. So it's also more healthier. Okay. So how often do people okay now what about the people? What about your friends? Do their parents also cook at home, or do they have lots of takeouts? What about your friends? Can't hear you, sweetie.
Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, okay. How often do people in your country cook at home?
Um, that, people in my country cook at home. Um, they prefer cook at home than take take away. That we rarely take away because um, my mom said that um take out and from the fast food shop is not clean, and we choose the choice that uh, cook at home, that to save the health and to be healthier.
Okay, so you can say, let's get that question. Okay, so this one. Oh, wait, let me get a different color. Okay, so let's take this one here. I'll type it in blue. Okay, so how often do people in your country cook at home nowadays? Most people in Vietnam cooks at home most of the time. Is uh especially after COVID. Um Usually only the main meal is cooked at home. Breakfast is a light meal, but although it is considered uh, important and seldom skipped. Lunch, take this. Okay, lunch is also a light meal, usually eaten at school or work. Dinner is the main meal where families cook together at night. It is much cheaper and healthier to cook at home. Okay, so most people in Vietnam cooks at home most of the time, especially after COVID. Usually only the main meal is cooked at home. Breakfast is a light meal, although it is considered important. You don't cook your breakfast usually unless you cook eggs, but usually you just take cereal or a sandwich. Lunch is also a light meal, usually eaten at school or dinner or work. Dinner is the main meal where families cook together at night. It is much cheaper and healthier to cook at home. Okay, Nhi, how often do people in your country cook at home nowadays?
Uh, Most people in Vietnam cooks at home most of the time, especially after COVID. Uh, Usually only the main meal is cooked at home. Breakfast is a light meal. Through it, although it is considered important and seldom skipped. Lunch is also a light meal usually eaten at school or work. Dinner is the main meal where families cook together at night. It is much cheaper and healthier to cook at home.
Okay, yes, I'm just writing here. Part 2.8. Okay. Okay. Let me save this. Okay, I see. What do people need to prepare when they need to cook?
The most important step to remember before preparing food is to wash and dry your hands thoroughly. Also, you must make sure that clothes, equipment, utensils, and the kitchen surface are clean. It's always handy to keep a rubbish bin nearby. Then you need to prepare the food by cutting it into pieces if necessary. Always keep the
Always,
surface
not always, always.
always keep the surface and utensils clean while cooking. You should always remember to separate uh, the meat from the vegetable when you cut or prepare your food. Furthermore, keep your waste space safe. For instance, your knives should be at a safe.
Okay. Nee, what do people need to prepare when they cook? When they need to cook, what do you prepare?
The most important step to remember before preparing food is to wash and dry your hands thoroughly. Also, you must make sure that clothes, equipment, utensils, and the kitchen surface are clean. It's always handy to keep a rubbish bin nearby. Then you need to prepare the food by cutting it into pieces if necessary. Always keep the surface and utensils clean while cooking. You should always remember to separate the meat from the vegetables when you cut or prepare food. Furthermore, keep your workspace safe. For instance, if your knives should be at a safe spot.
Okay, I see. How often do people in your country cook at home nowadays?
Most people in Vietnam cook at home most of their time, especially after COVID. Usually, only the main meal is cooked at home. Breakfast is a light meal, although it is considered important and seldom skipped. Lunch is also a light meal, usually eaten at school or work. Dinner is the main meal where families cook together at night. It is much cheaper and healthier to cook at home.
Okay. Next question. How do you think is more, who do you think, sorry, who do you think is more willing to do some cooking? Older people or younger people, Nee?
Um, in my opinion, I think that old people are more willing to do cooking than young people because uh, nowadays young people like students are very busy with their study, and also some of them are busy with their work. They are busy um, to follow the new trends that society have. So I think old people cook willing to do cooking more than young people.
Okay, I agree with you. I also think it's more the young generation that won't. What about you, Icy? What do you think?
Um, I think young people that they have a creative brain and um they have um a fast skills and like have and they can searching the recipe to cook a good good for food. And also they can decor and make sure that the the food is fresh and beautiful.
Okay. Why do you think older people likes cooking? Yes, they have more time because they're retired. But what is the other reason, Nee? Can you think of another reason why older people, like say your mom and your dad, why do they cook?
Uh, I think old people do more cooking to give love and to help young people. For example, my dad and my mom, they do cooking in my family because they want to help me. Uh, they want to help me to have more free time, so they do cooking for me.
Okay, so let's type it for you here. Cooking is a skill that one learns throughout their whole life. And especially after raising children, I can imagine that most older people, I'm not talking about grandparents, I'm talking about your parents, will know lots about cooking. Why? Because even though your parents has a busy life, when you were little, I'm not talking about now, I'm talking about when you were little, your parents had to work, clean the house, and cook. Because they're raising children, they couldn't raise you on hamburgers and hot dogs and pizza all the time. They had to cook vegetables, meat, rice, potato for you because it's more healthier. So even though your parents had a busy life, they still had to make time for cooking because they're raising a family. But when you are young and you are still studying and you don't have any kids, you are more likely to run to a fast food shop, grab your burger, eat on the go while you're on your laptop working or learning because you're not raising a family. So there's a difference. Cooking is a skill that one learns throughout your life. So you are looking at your parents, how they are cooking, and you are learning. Where else would you learn cooking? You can't read it from a book. You need to practice it. It's experience. So you learn throughout your life. You look at your school teachers or where they cook at school, maybe in a restaurant when your parents have one, maybe at home, maybe your grandparents. Especially after raising children, I can imagine that most older people will know lots about cooking because they are cooking for their children. However, not to say that there aren't young people who don't enjoy cooking, but the majority of the best amateur cooks are older people. There are young people that enjoy cooking and make time for cooking, and they study cooking, which is great. However, most people are the older people that have. So supporting our sentence there, we say older young people today are also overworked. For example, so I imagine most don't have time to cook their own food. So they are working, studying. I'm not talking about school children. I'm talking about children from school. So 19, 20, 21, 22. That's the age gap. It must be great to have a grandmother who cooks for you. It must be great to have a, let's say here, mother or grandmother who cooks for you. I enjoy home cooking meals and learn a lot from my, let's say mother, don't say grandmother. Okay, cooking is a skill that one learns throughout their whole life. And especially after raising children, I can imagine that most older people will know lots about cooking. Not to say that there aren't young people who don't enjoy cooking, but the majority of the best amateur cooks are older people. Young people today are also overworked, so I imagine most don't have time to cook their own food. It must be great to have a mother who cooks for you. I enjoy home cooking meals and learn a lot from my mother. So that's what you can say there. Let's make it longer so we can fit in the next one. Okay, no, I see. Who do you think is more willing to do some cooking, old people or young people?
Cooking is a skill that one learns throughout their life. And especially after raising children, I can imagine that most older people will know lots about cooking. Not to say that there aren't young people who don't enjoy cooking, but the majority of the best amateur cooks are older people. Young people today are also overworked, so I imagine most don't have time to cook their own food. It might be great to have a mother who cooks for you, enjoy home cooking meals, and learn a lot from my mother.
Okay, good. Nee, do you think everyone needs to learn how to cook?
Yes, of course. I think everyone need to learn to how to cook because when they in some situation they have to be far from their family. They need to know how to cook if they live alone for work or study. And also while the while COVID, everyone um don't have to go out of their home, so they need to know how to cook at their home.
Okay, so you can say, okay, so cooking is a skill everybody should learn. Why? Okay, so you can say, cooking is a skill everyone should learn because you will eat more mindfully when you cook at home. So by learning how to cook, you are not only in control of your calorie intake, but you are also building healthier habits. And the healthier you are, the more energy you will have to keep cooking. Do you think everyone needs to learn how to cook? Okay. So cooking is a skill everyone should learn because you will eat more mindfully when you cook at home. By learning how to cook, you are not only in control of your calorie intake, but you are also building healthier habits. And the healthier you are, the more energy you will have to keep cooking. You can also say it will save you money, definitely. You can also, it also gives you different skills, not just cooking. It gives you like, it teaches you how to clean, safety tips. It teaches you decisions, so you have to decide. It teaches you maths. There's always maths in there. Okay, so Icy, do you think everyone needs to cook or know how to cook?
It's a skill everyone should learn because you will eat more mindfully when you cook at home. By learning how to cook, you are not only in control of your calorie intake, but you are also building healthier habits. And the healthier you are, the more energy you will have to keep cooking.
Okay. What do you think, Nee? Should everybody be able to cook?
Cooking is a skill everyone should learn because you eat more mindfully when you cook at home. By learning how to cook, you are not only in control of your calorie intake, but you are also building healthier habits. And the healthier you are, the more energy you build you to keep cooking.
Okay. Icy, what do you think is more, who do you think is more willing to do some cooking? Old people or young people?
Cooking is a skill that one's learn throughout their whole life. And especially after raising children, I can imagine that most older people will know lots about cooking. Not to say that there aren't young people who don't enjoy cooking, but the majority of the best amateur cooks are older people. Young people today are also overworked, so I imagine most don't have time to cook their own food. It would be great to have a mother who cooks for you. I enjoy home cooking meals and learn a lot from my mother.
Okay. Nee, who do you think is more willing to do some cooking? Old people or young people?
Cooking is a skill that one learns throughout their whole life. And especially after raising children, I can imagine that most older people will know lots about cooking. Not to say that there are young people who don't enjoy cooking, but the majority of the best amateur cooks are older people. Young people today are also overworked. So I imagine most don't have time to cook their own food. It must be great to have a mother who cooks for you. I enjoy home cooking meals and I learn a lot from my mother.
Good. I see. Do you think everyone needs to learn how to cook?
Cooking is skill everyone should learn because you will eat more mindfully when you cook at home. By learning how to cook, you are not only in control of your calorie intake, but you are also building healthier habits. And the healthier you are, the more energy you will have to keep cooking.
Okay. Nee, how often do people in your country cook at home nowadays?
Um, Nowadays in Vietnam, breakfast is a light meal. They often eat out to go for work and school. Lunch also a light meal. Children often eat at their school and their parents have their lunch at work. But evening is the main meal. All people often spend their time to cook and eat together in evening after a hard day working and studying.
Okay. I see. What do people need to prepare when they cook?
Um, the most important uh step to remember before preparing food is uh to wash and dry your hand. Also, you must make sure that clothes, um, equipment, and the kitchen surface are clean. It always hand, handy to keep a rubbish bin nearby. You should always remember to separate the meat from the vegetable when you cut or prepare your food.
Okay, good. All right, sweeties, you both did a good job today. We're gonna stop here. I'm gonna see you next time, okay? Bye, Nee. Bye,
Goodbye, teacher.
Icy.
Goodbye.
Bye,